What's up, Taiwan? I'm Sandy Chi with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Taiwan is marking 65 years since the beginning of the second Taiwan Strait crisis. During the crisis, Taiwan held onto key islands, preventing a Chinese takeover. But the threat of invasion has not gone away, a fact that was in the background of this year's commemorations. John Van Triest has this report.
President Tsai Ing-wen and presidential candidate Hou You-yi exchange brief words. Tsai's Democratic Progressive Party and Hou's Kuomintang are often bitterly at odds. But this is the sort of occasion where country comes before party. The two politicians are on the island of Kinmen, governed from Taiwan but within sight of the Chinese coast. Wednesday marked 65 years since China launched an attack on the island, which it hoped would be a stepping stone to Taiwan itself. Despite intense shelling, Kinmen held out. And this conflict, the second Taiwan Strait crisis, ended. Tsai and Hou came in person to pay respects to those who died in the attacks. But the threat of a Chinese invasion has never gone away. And with just months until the next presidential election, Tsai Ing-wen's opponents continue to take aim at her China policy. Threats from Beijing increased drastically since Tsai took office in 2016. At a memorial in Taipei, Taiwan People's Party candidate Ko Wen-je had this to say.
我主张降低两岸的恶意螺旋增加交流对话，优先处理民生议题。我们的立场坚定，但是也保有弹性，这才是确保和平的途径。
Now, over half a century after the second Taiwan Strait crisis, the question animating the country is the future of Taiwan's relationship with China. Klein Wang and John Van Triest for TaiwanPlus.
While Tsai and Hou paid their respects in Kinmen, Foxconn founder and potential presidential candidate Terry Guo was also visiting the islands. And he used the occasion to emphasize his own plan for cross-strait peace. Ed Moon is in Kinmen with the story.
This is Terry Guo. He's the billionaire founder of one of Taiwan's biggest companies, Foxconn. They make everything from iPhones to electric cars. But today, Guo's not playing the role of businessman. He's here as a potential presidential candidate.
Taiwan and China, war coming. Okay, the feeling is smile. It's like war.
Guo has come to Kinmen, the closest piece of Taiwanese territory to China, at just 10 kilometers away. He's here on a key date in Taiwanese history, the 65th anniversary of the last major conflict between Taiwan and China, known as the Second Taiwan Strait Crisis, when Chinese forces launched a major artillery barrage against Kinmen. And Guo is using the occasion to remind Beijing of Taiwan's willingness to fight and the need for talks to avoid another conflict.
台湾人民绝对不会主动挑起战争，但也绝不可能怯战。和平是我们的信仰，唯有和平、民主、自由的意义才得以被彰显。
Guo made his fortune largely in China, where many of Foxconn's biggest factories are located. It means he's had to work closely with Chinese officials, and he sees himself as capable of striking a peace deal with Beijing, if given the opportunity. Guo tried and failed to win the main opposition Kuomintang nomination for president, and ever since has hinted at an independent run. Terry Guo has kept Taiwanese waiting for a long time to find out whether he'll run for president, and it's clear they're going to have to wait a little longer to find out. But his vision for Taiwan is a country that's much closer to China, and he wants to use the islands of Kinmen, just kilometers off China's coast, to achieve that. The latest polling suggests if he runs, Guo would come fourth with about 9% of the vote, well behind the frontrunner Lai Ching-te. But crucially, Guo would pull support from the remaining two candidates, making it harder for them to beat Lai and his party, the ruling DPP. With Taiwan's opposition divided between the potential three candidates, even if Guo runs, he seems to have an uphill battle to win. But what is clear from today is that whatever he decides, Guo is determined to use his influence and wealth to try and improve cross-strait ties. Karma Shu and Ed Moon in Kinmen for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's Justice Ministry has upped rewards for people who inform authorities of foreign interference in elections. As Rick Lau reports, Taiwan is on guard for Chinese meddling as the vote for its new president approaches.
Taiwanese businessman Lin Huai sentenced to more than 3 years in prison for using cash from China to buy votes in Taiwan's 2020 presidential election. He treated people to meals, hotel rooms and air tickets to encourage them to vote for the Beijing-friendly candidate. He maintains his innocence.
大陆这个政府的钱是给我们台商协会的，而这笔钱跟选举是没有关系，司法不公啦，司法不公啦，我觉得这个冤案。
Taiwan is now less than 5 months away from electing its next president, and the country is once again on edge over Chinese influence on the elections. Neighbouring China sees self-ruled Taiwan as part of its sovereign territory. Beijing is opposed to the current government in Taipei, led by the Democratic Progressive Party, or the DPP, which maintains Taiwan is its own country. Taiwan's Justice Ministry has also boosted rewards for people reporting foreign election interference.
如果检举境外势力介入选举，我们的奖金最高可以达到2000万。
It's not just vote buying that's put Taiwan on high alert. The country's security services are also monitoring attempts by China to use cultural activities and communication apps to sway Taiwan voters towards pro-Beijing candidates. Taiwan's vice president and presidential candidate Lai Ching-te has said Chinese military activity around Taiwan, which has increased in recent years, also amounts to meddling in elections.
所以在这个关键时刻，我希望我们在此时此地再次的承诺，不管极权主义对台湾的威胁有多大，我们绝不畏惧退缩，我们一定坚持民主自由的价值，好不好？
It's Taiwan's democratic elections that set it apart from its autocratic neighbour China. And as it heads towards its all-important presidential vote in January, Taiwan will have to be on constant guard to protect its democratic processes. James Lin and Rick Lau for TaiwanPlus.
South Korea has held its first nationwide air defense exercise in 6 years. During the 15-minute drill, drivers had to pull over and pedestrians had to take shelter. Some areas near the border with North Korea also practice responding to biological or chemical attacks. The exercise is in response to North Korea's growing military threat. The North test-fired multiple missiles on Monday after the US and South Korea started joint military exercises. Some South Koreans support holding the emergency response drills.
가끔씩 있는 거는 괜찮다고 생각합니다. 우리 남북도 대치 상황도 있고, 그리고 또 어떤 재난이 발생했을 때 대피할 수 있는 요령 정도는 몸에 숙지하고 있는 게 좋을 것 같습니다.
Landslides have forced the closure of schools and government offices in 3 villages in southern Taiwan. Heavy rain triggered a debris flow that washed away parts of a bridge in Kaohsiung's Taoyuan district, limiting access to the villages. The bridge was a makeshift replacement for an earlier bridge destroyed by heavy rain and landslides in 2021. Its permanent replacement is not expected to be finished until 2025. It's the height of pomelo harvesting season, and agricultural officials are now finding new ways to help Taiwan's farmers sell their fruit. They've teamed up with convenience store chains to sell cut and peeled pomelos to customers who don't want to do it themselves. The government predicts Taiwan will produce over 70,000 tons of pomelo this year. Some of that is for export, but the market shrank after China banned the fruit last year. Officials and farmers have been looking for ways to boost domestic consumption instead. Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Finally, today we leave with images of a summer marathon held at the North Pole. I'm Sandy Chi. Take care and see you next time.